Hey guys, welcome back. This is the Dave Rubin when Rand Paul made a joke out of the Senate bill, the spending bill that they had passed. Let's see what they're talking about and see Dave's thoughts on it, and we'll react on it ourselves. Let's get into this.
There are one or two sane people in government. I usually put Rand Paul at the top of my list, and yeah, Rand Paul's not happy about it.
I brought with me the Omni, 4,155 pages. When was it produced? In the dead of the night, 1:30 in the morning when it was released.
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna switch camera up real quick. Look at the signs he put below there. Danger, $1.7 trillion of hazardous debt. Omnibus, beware with the skull and crossbones, beware debt hazard of $1.7 trillion. Warning, greatest threat to our national security, $1.7 trillion.
You know what? I think I heard it was in 2009 or so when the Tea Party got going. Is the and if I remember right, the national debt was about $9 trillion, and now it's 32 trillion, I
Oh, it's
believe.
insane.
Yeah,
I
and
know because I remember
in
it back
13
then
years,
too. Oh.
13 years,
What I
it's
mean,
more than tripled.
it's exponential debt. So in
Yeah.
another 13 years, it'll be like 150, 160 trillion.
Mm.
And we'll
Yeah.
be
Well,
talking about trillions in 30 years. We'll talk trillions as though they were billions,
gazillions. Yeah. I
billions
don't know
from
what
back in the day. That'll be quadrillion or
It's like
some
everybody be a
like that.
millionaire, so they can tax the millionaires, and everybody will think it's okay, except then they'll realize that they're millionaires
Yep.
just to go and they're homeless. Uh, it's interesting. This is the government's way to fight inflation somehow. This is how they're controlling inflation because what the American people are spending too much money. I mean, how's that logic work? We gave a bunch of money to Ukraine in this, and
Yep.
actually a number of other
We also
countries.
spent $118,000 to
One hundred
what?
eighteen thousand.
Yeah, there was a study.
That's a
118,000.
cheeseburger.
Yeah. Well, this cheeseburger was a study. It was government paid research to find out if Thanos had metal hands, could he make a snapping sound?
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
I would think it'd be more of a clang, but I don't know. Maybe
I mean,
like an anvil.
at,
When you're hitting it with a hammer.
at this
I think I
point,
want in
it's
on that study because I think I've
well,
got some
I
other
think you just have to
ideas.
know a congressman and say, "Hey, I want this, and can you get me this?" And then they go
Uh,
and write it a subline in one of these 4,000 pages that nobody will read.
the problem is the ones that I really know are pretty conservative and they're fighting against us. So there's no chance. I'm going to have to switch parties, I think,
Yeah,
yeah,
you're gonna have to get to know the
make
other
some new
ones.
friends. Yeah,
Yep. All right, let's continue this.
yeah.
Let's see what's going on here.
Now, people argue that it's conservatives' fault. You don't have the Christmas spirit. Somehow you're holding up government. Well, whose job is it to produce this? The people in charge of spending, the people in charge of both of the parties. When did they know that this would be necessary? Well, it's in the law, September 30th. You got 9 months, almost 10 months, to produce a plan, to have a spending plan. They weren't ready on September 30th, so they voted themselves 90 more days. They weren't ready last week either, so they voted themselves another week. And now we have it at 1:30 in the morning this morning. But what's the clamor? The clamor is to vote. Vote now. Let's get it
Yeah,
done. Why are you standing in the way of spending? Well, the real question is this. What is more dangerous? What is more dangerous to the country? $1.1 trillion in new debt, or as Republican leadership likes to say, oh, but it's a win. It's a big win. We're getting $45 billion for the military. So which is more important? Which threatens the country more? Are we at risk for being invaded by a foreign power if we don't put $45 billion into the military? Or are we more at risk by adding to a $31 trillion debt? I think the greatest risk to our national security is our debt. The process stinks. It's an abomination. It's a no good, rotten way to run your government.
corrupt.
You know what's interesting is that Mitch McConnell, as you know, is
Yeah, it
from
is.
Kentucky. Rand Paul, as you know, is from Kentucky. I have a feeling these
Two
guys don't have
opposing
dinner that
forces.
often. Yeah, everything that Rand Paul said there is true. The way they frame everything, the time they have to do it, and then they try to jam it through, and nobody's read it, and they send it to you late, and all of that stuff. You know, I obviously I like Rand Paul a lot, and I saw him in D.C. a couple weeks ago, and we interviewed him again. It's interesting because, and I've sort of tried to say this to him sometimes, it's like he's kind of like the sane guy who accidentally got thrown into the mental institution, right? So everyone in DC, Republicans too, they're all just awful. Everyone does all the wrong things. Like they just don't care. Nobody is willing to take the slings and arrows. And I'm talking at the federal level because obviously I'm not talking about the state level where there are good things working, Florida. But he's the guy who they accidentally admitted to the mental institution. And he's trying to tell everybody, guys, I'm not supposed to be here. There's ways better. We can do this thing. We don't have to drug everybody. We should try some other therapies. And there's, okay. And I know this guy's talking to himself and this guy's whatever. And he's a glutton for punishment. But he's basically like one man standing there as the tide gets higher and higher going, guys, we're all going to drown soon. Does anyone want to get some flip flops or what do they call those things? Little things that go on the kids' arms. Not
It's like a vegan in a cannibal's village. What's for dinner?
Yeah, right.
You. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. They spend money that we don't have, for one. Absolutely, we don't have.
No, because it's debt.
And so most of it's printed up digitally, anyways. They don't not print it in the currency. And but if our debt has tripled in the last 13 years,
Yeah.
how would your personal finances be if you took all of your expenses that you have and tripled the cost of those every month, and but kept your income the same?
Well,
What would happen? You could go bankrupt.
Well, it would be amazing. It would work great if the bank would give you infinite loans with no questions asked.
Well, that's exactly what's happening, unfortunately. But the rest of the world looks at us. China's chomping at the bit to, and so is Russia, really, to get off of the petrodollar with us, having us be the lead currency in that. And if they can get us off that,
I think
petrodollar,
they did already, didn't they? Russia got off the dollar a couple years ago.
Yeah, and because all they've got to do is undermine the faith in the U.S. dollar, which, I mean, if they watch our Congress, they can understand that. And
right.
I mean, would you invest in the Congress? Would you send them any money? Go, hey, you know what? That sounds like a good investment. I want to that'll be get a good return on that. What do you get? What Biden hires? How many? 79 or 89,000 IRS agents or whatever the amount was?
80-something thousand.
Yeah,
doubled the IRS budget
to collect the money that they're blowing like this, and people vote for them, right?
Yep.
There was remember, I don't know if you remember Dukakis, but when he was running, he made the comment that he was going to hire a bunch of IRS agents. All of a sudden, his campaign tanked. oh man.
Yeah,
how could that be?
It's gonna be a blast. I have no idea how this is gonna turn out long term.
I do.
Economically.
Oh, I do. It only goes so far.
They can hide it. They'll hide it for they'll keep hiding it for years and years and years as long as countries are willing to invest in our country.
Yeah, like Tanzania.
Yeah.
Right, where it takes $1 billion or whatever it is, to equal $1 US or whatever the hell that is.
Yeah, as long as everyone else's dollar's garbage. The second everybody starts dumping out of ours,
that's when we're in trouble.
We're in real trouble. It'll be overnight too. It won't be a slow burn like it is right now with the higher inflation. It'll be thousands and thousands of percent a month.
This is for those who haven't studied economics. This is why when we got off the gold standard, it was so dangerous, because those who were conservative minded financially knew that in fact what the government would do was to start printing money. Start printing money, because now they don't have to back it up with anything.
Right.
And they're right now, and they've been doing this for quite a while, is squashing evaluation of gold and silver, because right now gold and silver should be like through the roof. Every time we pass a budget like this,
100%.
gold and silver should just go
I
up
think
like mad.
gold's supposed to be mathematically like, was it $25,000-$30,000 an ounce?
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's what, 1,800 something like that.
I'm
2,000,
not sure
maybe
what it is.
2,000.
Yeah.
It's
Even
insane.
if so, it's low.
Yep.
And yeah, because if the less value our dollar has, the more dollars it takes to buy an ounce of gold or an ounce of silver.
Right.
And that's really the principle, except for when the government gets involved and then they start manipulating the currency, which is what Trump accused China of manipulating the currency.
Right.
And they keep the value of the silver and dollar and gold down so that it doesn't reveal the
Right.
lack of value of the American dollar. Because I mean, you think about it. Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's absolutely insane.
Yep.
I saw, just to throw this in on this, is I saw the McDonald's ad that they're running open their first fully automated McDonald's, no human help. I don't know where it was. I didn't pay that much attention.
We knew that we knew that was going to come when you start demanding, $20 an hour.
Yeah.
For McDonald's employees, it's gonna happen. Businesses are gonna make up that expense. That's just a fact of the matter. There will be less jobs in the world with more people at the end of the day.
Well, to get back what he was talking about with Mitch McConnell and all is Mitch is part of the establishment, part of the problem. He's as much the problem as Schumer is.
Oh, 100%. As a matter of fact, there's a new term I would like to start introducing. Is like
lying, cheating bastards.
Well, like the right. So the establishment right. Let's start referring to them as alt left.
The establishment. So you would call Mitch McConnell alt left, Paul Ryan alt left.
Yep.
Romney alt left.
Alt left.
Yeah.
Because they call people that are
alt right.
Alt right, and alt right are the conservatives, but the right calls the alt right.
So the alt is alternative.
Alternative.
What the hell?
Yep. So the conservatives got their own party, that's alt right, or their own identification as alt right, but the Republicans are really alt left. There's nothing right conservative about any of the Republicans in there except for maybe Rand Paul and a couple others that you never hear their names.
Yeah. It's like, you think on this, apartment building's on fire in the city, and the fire department shows up, and 400 firemen show up, and firewomen, and with all the trucks and all that, and 3 of them turn the water on and try to put the fire out, and the rest of them are standing around eating donuts.
Yep.
And having sandwiches. Or actually, in our government's case, throwing gas on the fire and maybe roasting some marshmallows on it. They're the problem. They are absolutely the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And until we roust them all out, the Paul Ryans and Mitch McConnells, all of them. It doesn't matter what if they're. I mean, those 2 are supposed to be Republicans, Romney, and the rest of them, and get some people in that are going to be fiscally conservative at least. Then we're in trouble. But we see what happened when Trump tried to get in and straighten out the economy, is how both sides focused against him, and they had the full force and weight of the media because they pay for commercials.
That's why they need to be called the alt left. Just start making it famous, make it popular. Start referring to them as all of the alt left. If they're liberals, just call them left. They're lefties. Yeah. If they're Republicans, call them alt left. If they're
the
not
reality is these guys are stealing from us.
Oh, 100%.
These guys are absolutely stealing from us. They're taking our money and then sicking the IRS or whoever else it is after us if we don't give them all of our money.
Yep.
And then they take our money and they give it to family connections. They give it to foreign countries. They give it to whatever causes or pals they have. And then what was it? You said it was $45 billion that they're giving for military spending, and which is a drop in the bucket out of $1.7 trillion.
Right.
And
I mean, our annual military budget, I think, is $900 billion or something insane like that. When they do their military spending, not just their general government spending. So, everything is trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars a year. But anyways, all right, guys. Like and subscribe down below. Comment. Give us some, share some videos of stuff that you would like us to take a look at. And see you guys on the next one.
Thanks, Super Five.